Hello, hi my friends. In today's video, I'd like to share with you how I use the Heimer solar panel to charge not just the coach battery, but also charging the chassis battery also. That way, the vehicle could always be able to crank the engine at all time without concern of draining the chassis battery. So first of all, this is the chassis battery fuse box, and this is the positive life junction, and from here I run a wire in the loom, and this wire is connected to a fuse. There is the fuse, and the fuse would connect the wire underneath the chassis, and I run the wire underneath the chassis all the way back to the inverter cabinet. And in order for me to get the wire through, I have to drill a hole in the chassis floor so that the wire could come out from the inverter cabinet. And I ran actually 2 wires through this hole, and one wire is, there are 2 wires through this hole on the floor, and one wire would go to the chassis wire, and then also I connected the charge side bus bar. The charge side bus bar is going through this hole into the charge junction underneath the chassis. So in the past, I use a 3-way switch like this to selectively charging either the chassis or the coach battery. And this was done manually. When I'm boondocking, I charge the coach battery. When I store my vehicle, I charge my chassis battery. But since then, I have switched over to a automatic system. So let's take a look at the MT50 to show what these symbols mean. And on the left hand column, this is the solar panel. I disconnected the solar panel already, so it's only 4.6 volt, even though it's a very sunny day. And the middle is the battery, and in this case I have the Eco Tracks off. So this battery is the kicker battery. The kicker battery right now is at 12.9, about 12.9 volt, and 12.9 volt is more than 100% state of charge. And the kicker battery state of charge at 100% is about 12.7 to 12.8. So this is more than 100% state of charge. And on the right hand side is the load port. It's the load port from the solar charger. I'm sorry, from the solar controller, the APRI solar controller that we all have. And right now it's not charging anything, and there's no charging. So the first step I like to do is to turn on the solar panel. I install a circuit breaker. This is a 40 amp circuit breaker, and I use it also as a switch that I could turn on and off the solar panel. And this is the proper way to turn on and off the solar panel instead of turning off the battery connection. So I turn on the solar panel, and you can see in order for the chassis battery charger to come on, it has to be 13.1 volt or higher. So it was at 12.9, so that's why it's not turning on. And when it turn on, you can, oh, it just turned on, okay, because the solar just charged the the kicker battery to a threshold that it turned the chassis battery charger on just now. So let's go back and take a look at MT50. And as you can see, let me turn the LED lights on. And the MT50, the solar panel voltage is 21.5 volt and the current is 1.4 amps. And now the kicker battery is at 14.2 volt and 1.1 amp. And this is the chassis battery charging. The chassis battery is charging at 0.8 amps because the chassis is pretty full already. And the 14.2 volt is somewhere between the solar charging and the battery voltage. This is both are showing the kicker battery voltage, but this voltage is higher than it actually is because it's so close to the solar panel. So right now we are charging both the kicker battery as well as the chassis battery simultaneously, and this current 0.7 amp is inversely proportional to the chassis battery voltage. When the chassis battery voltage is low, for example, if the chassis battery voltage is 9 volt, it will charge at 5 amps. When the chassis battery is about 13.5 volt, there'll be no charging. It will stop. So the charging current is inversely proportional to the voltage of the chassis battery. And we also have a nice feature on the solar controller. In the solar controller, I told you earlier, there is a load port, a loader port, and the blinking light, this one is for the solar panel charging the kicker battery, and that one is the low port, which is charging. And the button next to it, the red button, is the on-off switch manually to turn the low port on or turn the low port off. So let me turn off the load port. So turn off the low port, it shut down the chassis battery charging. So this could be done manually to turn it off. So let me turn it back on. Okay, I just turned it back on. Now it's back on. Back on charging. And let's take a look. It's back on charging again. Let me turn on the light. And back on charging. So it's back on charging at 0.7 amps. Back on charging 0.7 amps. So if I have the Eco Track on, this current would be a much higher because right now the kicker is pretty much full, so that's not much charging going on. So in the next video, I will show you the construction of this solar charge controller for the chassis battery. Okay, that's it. Have a good day. Bye bye.